Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. The setup today is a little bit different. It's messy, it's empty. I don't even know if anyone even noticed it because I'm always blocking it, but I do want to show the reason why is because I've moved all these books onto my shelves on the wall, my floating shelves, because I bought these like movie cover posters from Etsy of all of my favorite movies. It was like a 50 pack and they just came in the mail. I'm really excited. I'm not done with the wall yet. I want to put like flowers and I don't know, vine shit, up there. But this is what it looks like. And I'm really happy about it. So those are my movie posters. I already put a little bit of flowers, but I want to see what I can do in those spaces. But yeah, I put like some of my favorite fantasy-esque novels. These are my romance-esque area. Some of my favorite new movies, Pride and Prejudice. Love that movie. Love it so much that I want to forget everything about it so I can watch it like it's the first time, but I know that's never going to happen because I love that movie too much. I have La La Land, Knives Out, Nocturnal Animals, which I feel like is so underrated, Promising Young Woman, Jojo Rabbit, love it, Good Time with Robert Pattinson, it's so good. I love it. I have Mitchell's vs. Machines. To me, so underrated. I mean, like, it's just not talked about enough because it's not Pixar, but I think it beats a lot of Pixar stuff because that movie is so good. She's a Man. I'm just like I love film. I want to be in the film industry. So I kind of have all my favorite films. I have Pacific Rim. Is a good mention. Train to Busan, Gone Girl, Good Will Hunting, Sorry to Bother You. I really loved Sorry to Bother You. I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but I loved it. Rocket Man, so underrated, especially because Bohemian Rhapsody came out the year before. But Rocket Man is the superior movie. I swear, it is so good. It made me love Elton John. Like, I had never once in my life listened to Elton John. Okay, let's wait for this airplane to pass. Okay. I've never once in my life listened to Elton John before I watched that movie. And then I watched that movie 3 times in a row. I never really do that. But I thought it was such a good movie. And I thought my man, Taron Egerton, he was robbed of an Oscar nom. Was he not nominated? I don't know. But that year was stacked up. I think it was like 2019 with really good films. He just got unlucky with that. But that movie was so good, so underrated. It should have done so much better than Bohemian Rhapsody. It was so well done. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to stop talking about that. But anyways, I have all my favorite movies up there. But today, we're not going to talk about movies. We are going to talk about, you guessed it, books again. We are going to talk about this book I just finished. It's been a while. It's called Marriage for One. It's a slow burn romance. It's dual POV. It's marriage of convenience. It's grumpy sunshine. All of the best tropes. Actually, I take that back. Not all of the best. I love most tropes. I accept miscommunication. If done right, though, I will like miscommunication. But yeah. We're going to talk about that. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Maybe like a 3.75. I think 3.75 because if I'm going to do it comparatively, 3.75. But yeah, let's talk about what this book is about. So this book starts off, if you don't know what it's about, it starts off at the altar of these two strangers' marriage. Their names are Rose and Jack. Like the Titanic, and they know it. They know. They're like, it says it in the back of the book, like, oh, we're doomed from the start because Rose and Jack, like the Titanic, yeah, we were doomed, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that's that. They're at the altar, they don't really know each other, and then they get married, and you're like, why did they get married? Basically, it's a business transaction. They got married because Rose, the heroine, her uncle passed away And in his will, it said that if she was married, her husband would own a property that she wanted to make a coffee shop with. She wanted to her dream was to make a coffee shop, open it up, etc. in New York. And her uncle was like very wealthy. But because she wasn't married, because her ex-fiance they just broke up with each other maybe like 6 months previous, she wasn't going to get the property, period. It was going to go to her cousins. So her dreams of having this coffee shop were shattered. She thought she lost all hope of this coffee shop. And then when she's going to go sign off on the will, because she's not in it anymore, she doesn't get fucking anything, because she doesn't have a husband because her ex-fiance broke up with her, this lawyer from the firm that her rich uncle like worked with, he comes up to her. His name is Jack, the main hero, and he says, I have a proposal for you. I want that property. I will give you your coffee shop for 2 years. Like, let's just marry each other. I'll marry you so you can have your coffee shop for 2 years, and then I get the property, and it's a win-win. And then after a lot of pushing, she agrees, they get married. That's where the first page starts. Then, after that, the plot thickens, the plot ensues, they fall in love, just like how it is. And yeah, that is basically what the book is about. I gave this 3.75 out of 5 because I did feel like at parts, even though it is obviously a slow burn, it felt a little slow at times. Like, for example, when I was reading Mariana Zapata's While Winnipeg and Me, I read it, and it was a 600-page book, but it went by so quickly. I was like, oh, I am like going, oh my God, I sounded like a horse. I'm like going through this. Like, it is so easy to read. But this one, it felt a little bit slower. So I knocked it down a little bit for that. Also, Jack kind of does like stalkery-esque things. He gives like Joe from You vibes. So that's a whole nother thing about that. And also, the thing I love about this book, though, is that it's in the same world as Spanish Love Deception, because the coffee shop that Rose opens is called Around the Corner in Spanish Love Deception. I think the authors, because these are two separate authors. Marriage for One is by Ella Mays. Spanish Love Deception is by Elena Armas. They mention Around the Corner coffee shop, in Spanish Love Deception, and that is Rose's coffee shop. So I love that connection. I don't know. I just thought it was cute. I think if Jack wasn't so damn hot. Also, Jack is a lawyer. I don't know if I said that, but yeah. He was a lawyer who worked at a firm. Oh yeah, I did say that. If he wasn't so damn hot, a lot of the stuff that he would do would probably be really creepy. But I guess we find it endearing in romance books, and I found it endearing because it's him who did it. And he's hot, So I will kind of get into spoilers from here on out, because I think the things I want to talk about, it's kind of hard to talk about without mentioning spoilers. But yeah, 3.75 out of 5. I think that you should read it. I think it's really cute. The relationship kind of develops really naturally. Also, another thing I didn't like about it was that the timeline felt not... It wasn't that it wasn't consistent, but it kind of confused me. Like, that's my pet peeve in books. Is like, I want to know exactly where in time we are right now. How, especially in romance. Like, how long have they known each other? How long have they been talking? It would like go from one part of the scene, and then the next chapter they're like 2 months in advance, but they wouldn't mention that it's 2 months in advance. So I'm thinking like, or a week in advance or something. So I'm thinking like, oh, it's the next day, or it's the same night, stuff like that, And that kind of like ticked me off a little bit. I'm like, where are we? How long have they been married? I want to know. Like, even by the end of the book, they go through a lot of stuff. They go through like health issues and like this, and that. But in my head, I'm like, okay, so they got married in the summer, and then winter happened, Christmas happened, and then February. But how long have they been married for? I was like confused. But anyways, let's get into the spoilers. So, for most of the book, you know that Jack doesn't really care about the business deal. He was in the marriage just because he liked Rose and was interested in her and just wanted to do her a favor. Right? You kind of know that for most of the book. So throughout the book, Jack's assistant knows this information and tells Jack, like, you should just tell her the truth. You should just be honest with her. I'm sure she'll understand. But he's afraid of losing her by telling the truth. You know, that bullshit. But I thought that was going to be where the third act conflict was going to go. I was like, oh, so the third act conflict is that her ex-fiance is going to come back and say that yada, yada, yada. He, like, I don't know. She was going to find out somehow that he wasn't in it for the property. He was just in it because he liked her. But it's more than that. And I was actually shocked. I was like, okay, book. Okay. You were giving major Joe from You vibes because what he did. And I was like, oh, he did not do that. I was like, this is a little creepy, stalkery, you know? He paid her ex-fiance to break up with her. So you'd think that when he does that, right? It's like he's kind of pushing himself into her life. He paid his ex-fiance to break up with her, putting her in that position where she wouldn't be able to get her coffee shop or the property because she wouldn't have had a husband, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, he's literally like, that is some villain type shit, you know? And then you find out the reason why he did that was because her ex-fiance was just a con artist and was trying to con her because he knew that the ex-fiance knew that her uncle was wealthy and wanted to kind of like play him. So to get to him, he got to her, stuff like that, right? Very, very complicated stuff. And I was like, if it wasn't him doing this, it would be creepy. It would be Joe from You. You know, this is exactly what You, the TV show, was trying to say about romance, and like the romance genre by saying that like, oh, some of the things in there are like creepy, kind of like in The Hating Game. I painted the walls blue because of your eyes. I was like, that is creepy, you know? But we find it endearing in books, and honestly, the only reason why I accept it in this book is because Rose as a character is very strong. She's very resilient, and she calls him out. She calls him out like the reader would call him out. Like, I was saying some things in my head, and then she would say it on the page, and I was like, girl, you are so fucking right. You are right. 100%. Like, she says, like, why didn't you just, like, he has the money. Why didn't you just buy the property and then let me rent it, and then we could have met through there? Like, why did you have to go to marry me, like, and do all this, like, weird, creepy shit? And then, you know, they explain it, and it makes sense. And she doesn't forgive Jack that easily either. And I really like that. And I like that they kind of explain themselves. And even Jack, he says, you know, if you had a boyfriend, I would have stayed away. Like, I wouldn't like be a creeper to you. I just wanted a shot at you. I just wanted to like get to know you. And then we got married, but I wanted to keep my distance because I just wanted to help you out, and I didn't want you to think that I was pushing myself and coercing you to fall in love with me, you know, stuff like that. And then they did fall in love, etc., etc. So yeah, it was like, I don't know, kind of like iffy romantic gestures, but I was reading it, I found it endearing. I was like, this is really creepy. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. I'm so sorry, my alarm went off. But yeah, it was creepy, but I was like, it's a romance novel, and he was hot, so we accept it. Oh my god, why did I do that? The only thing that really confused me was the way that he said he tried to stay away from her. Like, he wanted a shot at her. That's the only thing he wanted. He was like, oh, I just wanted a shot to, like, get to know you, to date you, because I always found you interesting. And then, But he knew, like, from the beginning of the book, he knew that he was going to try to stay away from her, and keep his distance. But then how does that coincide with, like, you wanting a shot with her, right? Like, did you just expect that you just, like, gave up your shot at her after you married her? Like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense. That part just didn't make sense to me. Oh my god, but another reason why this book does remind me of the Spanish Love Deception is the smut scenes. Because there's, like, 2 smut scenes, and I do have to say, they're, like, medium level, like, good. You know? Like, they were pretty detailed, but they weren't, like, excessively detailed. But I liked them, you know? And I like that there weren't so many of them and that the story stood out. But the reason why that this book reminds me of the Spanish Love Deception in the Smut Scenes is because Jack literally says, like, the exact same thing that Aaron Blackford says in Spanish Love Deception. He's like, hold on to the headboard. I'm like, is this, like, a thing? Like, I like it, but is this, like, a thing? Like, hold on to the headboard? He says that word for word. I'm like, Aaron Blackford? Is that you? But yeah, that was just another thing. I also like that even though this was kind of like an attraction story, like, most of the story is kind of like them being attracted to each other physically. And then sometimes every now and then, like, I love how he's like, how Rose says, I like it when you frown. I like making you frown. Like, they like making each other angry. I think that's really cute. But even though this is mostly just, like, there isn't, like, a specific reason why they're meant for each other. I like that it still fits with the moral of the book, is that, you know, they chose each other. And that's what I like. Even though, you know, in actuality, really, personality-wise, it could have been any 2 people, but it's that they both didn't have family and they both didn't have their person. And the fact that they chose each other to be that person is kind of, in the grand scheme of things, even though at first it's really just like an attraction, it still makes sense at the end of the day why they're together. And I liked that. And I thought that was really cute. Like, they just chose each other. And that's that, you know? And they've never had someone choose them before. And I really liked it. I really thought it was cute. It was cute. But yeah, 3.75 out of 5 stars. I'd say it's a good read. Cute read. A little bit long. But the characters were great. The conflict, a little creepy. But it's okay. It's just a book. And yeah, please, if you have any thoughts and have read this book, put them down below in the comment section. Also, I got 15 subscribers. If you want to be number 16, you can subscribe, okay? So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, probably talking about books, but I do want to try to talk about other topics too. Like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But thank you so much. I'll see you next time.